it can rightly be said that 2023 was the beginning of the end of Francafrique, meaning the end of France's influence in Africa. Starting with Mali and spreading to Burkina Faso and Niger, France's influence in Francophone Africa is gradually dying. Its military presence and diplomatic relations in the Sahel, where it once had a stronghold, have deteriorated. All thanks to the wave of leaders brought by the wave of coups. Now it's 2024 and African geopolitics is changing again. What factors led to Niger's decision to end the status of forces agreement with the US? How might the withdrawal of US troops from Chad impact the fight against terrorism in the Sahel region? What are the reasons behind the temporary withdrawal of US troops from Chad? Who is going to fill the vacuum created by withdrawal of US troops? Let's uncover all these questions in this video, so be with us until the end. But this time, it's the world's superpower, the US relations with African countries, that is in the spotlight. In mid-March, Niger shocked the West and the world at large by ending the status of forces agreement signed in 2012, which allowed the US military forces to be in the country and carry out its operations. According to the military government of Niger, they made this decision following a meeting held between officials of the US military, including the commander of the US, Africa Command General Michael Langley, and the Prime Minister of Niger. Recall that after the coup which removed former President Bazoum from power in July 2023, the US troops stationed in the Agadez base in Niamey became inactive. So the purpose of the meeting between officials of the US military and the Prime Minister of Niger was to plot the way forward concerning the security relationship between the two countries. After Niger, US risks losing another strategic outpost for the fight against terrorism in the Sahel, and it is Chad. Yes, the US says it plans to withdraw part of its troops from Chad days after announcing the pullout of forces from neighboring Niger. The news of the withdrawal of the US military from Chad comes after last week the US administration had to accept the request from the military junta of Niger to withdraw its contingent of over 1,100 men from the country. The withdrawal of about 75 US special forces is reportedly scheduled to begin this weekend and will be completed within days. The US keeps approximately 100 troops in Chad under the pretext of fighting extremism. However, Sahel area countries have started to question the legality of the US military presence, but US said that this is a temporary step as part of an ongoing review of our security cooperation, which will resume after Chad's May 6th presidential election. The news of departure of the US military contingent from Chad had already been circulating for a few weeks, and would now seem to be confirmed in a letter addressed by the government of N'Djamena at the US military leaders, in which they threatened to end the security agreement with Washington, which is still in force. Although France, the region's former colonial power, has a much larger military presence in Chad, the United States has also relied on the country as a trusted security partner. Chad's Presidential Guard is in fact one of the best trained and equipped in the Sahel. The country has also hosted US-led military exercises and is an important partner in the effort involving several countries in the Lake Chad Basin to fight the Nigerian jihadist group Boko Haram. Pentagon spokesperson Major General Patrick Ryder said a portion of the US troops in Chad would reposition out of the country, and it was a temporary step as part of an ongoing review of security cooperation with Chad, which would resume after the country's May 6th presidential election. Ryder said the assumption is that all US troops will soon leave Niger, but stressed the Pentagon remains committed to countering violent extremist organizations in West Africa. The department will continue to support whole-of-government approaches to work with African leaders to maintain stability and address terrorist threats in the region, including addressing core issues that drive insecurity. Before we proceed further, discussing European Union's role and about the vacuum to be created by US and France, that who will now fill the vacuum to provide security to the Chad Republic. I'd like to hear from you. Are you finding this video informative? Feel free to share your thoughts and questions in the comments section below. And if you're finding it helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Your support means a lot to us and helps us reach a wider audience and the content that you'll love. Let's continue this journey together. The European Union's role is also a questionable one. There is distrust from the African populace towards several countries that are a part of the bloc. Most often, the reason has been these countries' roles as colonizers. The memory of the colonial era is still fresh in the collective consciousness of many citizens of these countries. Another aspect of this is the EU's failures in maintaining peace in the region. Putting a stop to terrorist activities, the primary stated reason behind the presence of European troops in the region, remains rampant. But that's not all. The bloc had funded military training in Mali and Niger, mainly with the aim of combating extremism linked to al-Qaeda. Some of the people trained by the EU went on to play a part in coups that toppled governments, as it is clear that US's statement about temporary withdrawal of troops is baseless. Chad's government knows very well that the vacuum is going to be filled by Russia and Iran. In fact, Russia's Wagner Group has played a very important role in expelling US troops from Niger and Chad. And while the West's military influence in the region has been waning, that of countries like Russia and Iran has seemingly become more prominent. The Wagner Group, a nominally private Russian military company, described by US officials as a proxy military force of the Kremlin, has expanded its operations. The group is active in nations like the Central African Republic, Libya, Mali, and Sudan. Wagner has also made attempts to engage with Burkina Faso and had been accused of efforts to destabilize Chad's government. The Russian state itself has been actively involved. In 2023, the Council on Foreign Relations noted in 2023 that Russia's influence in Africa is on the rise, with Moscow securing military cooperation agreements with 43 African countries. Russia's strategy appears to leverage anti-Western sentiment to strengthen its ties across the continent, while Iran's increasing role is notably marked by its export of military drones, which have had significant battlefield impacts. Iranian drones facilitated Sudanese armed forces during the civil war, helping regain territory around the capital. Similarly, in Ethiopia, the military credited Iranians supplied drones for turning the tide in a year-old civil war against Tigrayan rebels in 2021. Earlier this month, Russian military instructors arrived to reinforce Niger's country's air defenses. They brought Russian equipment, which they said they would train Nigerians to use. Niger has been home to a major U.S. airbase in Agadez, which is used for manned and drone flights and other operations. The U.S. had also invested hundreds of millions of dollars in training Niger's military since beginning operations there in 2013. The Pentagon is being forced to draw down troops in response to the African government's demands to renegotiate the rules and conditions under which U.S. military personnel can operate. Both countries want terms that better favor their interests. The U.S. warned Chad's president last year that Russian mercenaries were plotting to kill him and 3 senior advisors, and that Moscow was backing Chadian rebels massing in the Central African Republic to the south. At the same time, the Kremlin was courting sympathizers within Chad's ruling elite, including cabinet ministers and a half-brother of the president. Do you think that U.S. troops will be back again? Because the U.S. has said that it is just a temporary withdrawal. They'll be back again after May 6th. But we should not forget that Wagner is active in the region and providing military assistance and training to the Niger and Chad. So the returning of U.S. seems impossible. They must have said it to protect their geopolitical significance. Let us know your opinions in the comment section, and don't forget to share the video and like and click on the subscribe button as well for remaining updated of the current trends in this fast-paced modern world. Until next video, stay tuned.